Hello there, this is Smith Welding and Restoration. I am your host, Adam Niffen. Stick around, see what's in the garage this week. Here we are. It's pretty uneven. What we're going to have to do now, we went over it with an 8-inch grinder with a 36 grit wheel. That took 5 of those pads to do. Now we're going over with 80 on a DA because we didn't want to get too deep in the steel. Now here, and along this edge I did lead work because we started getting some pinholes through. Once I seal the underside, those pinholes will no longer matter. I did lead work here because there was some denting I couldn't get at and I didn't want to just fill it with mud. And there were pinholes started across here. So that's all lead. That's lead. See where I got a little light. We're still going to use some plastic filler on this, so I'm not worried about absolute perfection. I just needed to get it back in shape. That fender, it's got 3 coats of slick sand. We're going to sand most of it off, but you know, my purposes for slick sand is these long straight panels are crooked as shit. I can spin all year long mudding and sanding and mudding and sanding and hammering and dollying. We hammer and dolly till we got a good base. We deal with the voids, the bad stuff with mud. Then we come back and slick sand it. This one here, I've got patched in there. Welded up those 3 holes. I got to go up in that lip and weld those sections in as well. That'll get done next week. I omitted this, and because this is an imperfect contour, I can hammer the shit out of it. I'd have to reform this whole thing because the contour we're going to end up with is modified off the original. Because of that light, it's got a weird, the lower piece and the upper piece aren't actually in the same contour. So I hammered everything out, got it basically flat. So now we're going to come in and we're going to build this sloping contour. I'm going to throw you up on a pedestal or up on a stand so you can watch. Alright, so you're going to see the piece, not me. I'm going to con my buddy here into playing cameraman, but we won't right now. What we're doing is we're going to lead this in. As I was explaining to you with the DA going and the compressor going, this contour, no matter how much beating and banging and forming, I could spend 3/4 of a day doing that, okay? I got, because the 2 different contours above and below that trim piece don't coincide. So what I did is I got it within a reasonable realm. I can go back with metal to metal. I can go in there with fiberglass. Those, I guess, are okay and reasonable methods of solving this problem. But today, we're going to do this lead. This is not a non-lead based solder. It is lead solder. Take your little cup. I've done some other repairs today, so it's mixed up pretty good, this gel. There's lead in this, there's acid in this, it's your flux. So you take a little acid brush, I got imperfection there, and we're just going to start bringing it across. I want to cover this in this paste super well. You know how to tell when you have too much flux? Trick question, no such thing. No such thing, because I'm going to burn it off when I tin it, remember. So we just want it done up real good. Just brush it on like when you're a kid in art class. Or, you know, last week. weak and their canvas isn't through there. Artistically inclined, right? I used to be. I was going for a degree when I was just a lad to do commercial arts. I got a couple freelance gigs, just ruined it. Never did it again. I haven't drawn since. If you find me up on Facebook, you can see a few of my pieces of work from, gosh, about 20 years ago. I was a decent artist, but this is basically my art. This is my outlet now. I've got to create. And once an artist, that's the deal. You've got to create. So I'm doing this whole shebang, right? Get the torch out. I'm using MAP gas. I really like MAP gas. It'll heat up a localized area real damn well with minimal distortion. Propane, usually by the time you get it hot enough, it's been so hot so long. I've seen people use oxygen acetylene. I'm basically using what I got, really. Got a torch. Boom. Steel wool, terry cloth, Turkish towel, whatever you want to call it. They all work. I have steel wool today because that's what I have. I think all my terry cloth towels became victims of actual mechanic work, sadly. So you don't want to try to heat the whole panel across. You just want to heat some localized areas. You're going to watch this, it's going to turn on you real quick. See that? Where it's starting to turn? Keep the heat moving. Keep it moving. Don't let it sit in one spot. Let it sit in one spot and you will regret it. Alright, so I got it tinned out. We're looking pretty good. Not the best tinning job I've ever done, but there you go. Let's see if we can't zoom it in here while I lay this lead on. So you heat up the lead a little bit. You want to start loosening that lead up. And heat's going to work its way upward, okay? Scratch, see that? Don't let it roll off. You want to keep it warm enough that it doesn't chalk up on you. You keep it cool enough that you're not burning those types of issues. Dance. A lot like oxygen settling well, to be honest with you. Alright. So, and when you set your lead down, make sure you don't pick it up by the hot end like I just did. The thing I found more important in it is get more than enough lead in there. Get more than what you're working with. Not a ton more, just more than what you actually have to have. I've got a special drawer in my shop and not in my regular toolbox for the lead tools. Anything that I use on lead, it's kind of separated, you know. I try to be very careful. When I'm done here tonight, I like to vacuum up this area. Or I'll vacuum it first thing in the morning, whatever. But before anybody not of the shop not understanding the safety concerns around here, I make sure it's cleaned up. I don't have any guests in here when I got lead on the floor. You gotta be very conscientious of your own health and everyone else's. Shit's no good for you. You knew that. The paddle. This is the paste for the paddle. I got plenty on this as it is. Start over here. Keep rises, remember. Start low at the point. You want to get where it's not liquid molten, but it's not chalky. The first pass is going to be get knocked all down more or less flat. And you roll it. You just roll into it. I'm going to get a little further on, come back to you. That's what lead looks like in the in-between stages. I got it all laid down, but I haven't really formed it yet. So I've got to drag it around that pan a little more. So what I'm going to do is actually pull the little roller stand out from underneath the shoulder. Put it up underneath the front there where I'm working so I can get it stable. That's where we're at, folks. We'll see more.